And our first story, we begin from Parliament, and the legislature has begun work on the Security and Intelligence Bill 2020. Now, the bill is to streamline Ghana's national security architecture and also spell out appropriate lines of reporting. Members of Parliament's Defence and Interior Committee are confident the bill, when passed into law, will help avert situations like violence that happened during the Ayawaso West Wuogon by-elections, among others. Now, the bill will repeal the Security and Intelligence Act 1996, which the committee observes has not responded adequately to emerging national security challenges. The committee chairman and ranking member for the committee as well, Seth Ichampo and James Agaga, are hopeful things will change going forward.
In Act 526, it is clear in Section 17 that there is a ministerial responsibility. And so Act 526 envisages the importance of having a minister responsible for the sector of national security. And so it gives a mandatory responsibility on the character who is responsible for that activity to report on behalf of the national security agencies to the Parliament of the Republic of Ghana annually. And that is clear in in Act 526. So this new bill is helping to enhance, if you listen to the debate of members. So it is not new. But however, the Constitution does not tie the hands of the President. And Act 526 also do not tie the hands of the President. He chooses who he prefers to be a national security minister. So in the scheme of any president, who he prefers to handle the security agencies on his behalf as a specific subordinate in respect of a minister responsible for that sector, he chooses to do that. So at every government, there is always a personality who created by law responsible for the security agencies. That is done by the president.
Things and the reportage that he received relative to the botched operation at Ayawaso West Wuogon. And so what this bill seeks to address is to clearly define the mandate of the minister responsible for national security vis-a-vis the role of the national security coordinator, clear lines of reporting. I think when that is done, what happened at Ayawaso West Wuogon wouldn't have been fishing to know exactly who gave the command for that botched operation. So that for me is one cardinal, problem that the bill will address when passed into law.
Just does this have the support of both sides of the House?
Yes, we support it. We're very clear. In the debate, I spoke, the minority leader spoke. We support the bill. This bill is long overdue. There were
Now let's take you to the Volta region, where the traditional area is also expressing gratitude to the Akufo-Addo-led government for delivering on development promises it made to chiefs and people of the Hohwe municipality. Addressing a press conference in Hohwe, the divisional chief of Biabansi, Togbi Ajima, said the commencement of the construction of the Hohwe Township roads indicates the president is someone who keeps his promises.
The bad state of access roads in the Hohwe municipality has been of great concern to residents and traditional authorities. The late Togbigan Gabusu, until his death, used every opportunity to lament about the roads and appealed to successive governments to fix the roads. President Akufo-Addo, during a visit to mourn with the Gbi traditional area on the demise of the late vociferous traditional ruler, assured the roads would be constructed.
To have the opportunity to pay my respects to an outstanding Ghanaian, a great community leader and a great traditional ruler who stood for his community. One thing that makes me very sad is that I promised him that when I came, I would do the town after he's gone that I've been able to honor this promise. But it is a promise that I've kept in his memory. And the town roads of Hawkeye are being.
Contracts for the construction of 15.2 kilometers and asphalting of 15 kilometers of existing roads in Hawkeye were thereafter awarded. In early August, First Sky and Justmo construction companies began works on the projects, which included Picnic Roads, Vekusime Road, Togbe Baho Street, Peme Roads, Bla Roads, Hawkeye Alabato Junction, among others. This development received applause from the B traditional authorities. Divisional Chief of B Abansi, Togbe Ajiman V, addressed a press conference on behalf of the 9 divisions of the traditional area.
We are gathered here this morning to acknowledge the massive and aggressive road construction works ongoing on the main Vegbe-Hawkeye Trunk Road, Hawkeye Township roads, and other development projects within the Hawkeye municipality in fulfillment of the President's promise. In this regard, the chiefs, elders, and the entire citizenry of being express our profound gratitude to you, His Excellency, for the swift response in fulfilling your promise in honor of the late Togbe Gabusu VI. We believe with this, his soul will forever remain grateful for this great memorial honor. Akpe, 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 kakakaka.
Now, let's end the bulletin, but before we go, Freemasons of the District Grand Lodge, they have supported the Upper West Regional Hospital with personal protective equipment to complement the efforts of government in the fight against coronavirus. Grandmaster of the District Lodge, Owusu Owulaku Hood, who made the donation on behalf of the Freemasons, commended medical staff of the hospital for working to contain the spread of COVID-19. Correspondent Rafiq Salam reports from Wa.
According to the Grandmaster of the District Grand Lodge, Isaac Owulaku Hood, the principal of Freemasons is charity and benevolence, thus explaining the reason why they set up a charity fund to complement government efforts in fighting the deadly novel COVID-19 disease. As a result of that, they were able to raise some funds, enabling them to donate specialized ultra-low freezers to Noguchi Memorial Institute and the Kumasi Center for Collaborative Research to store test samples for COVID-19. They also made donation to the Manshare Palace Humanitarian Charity Project before heading further north to the northwestern corner of the country for the latest donation. Items donated included 200 boxes of N95 surgical nose masks, 150 disposable gowns, 50 gallons of 5-liter hand liquid sanitizers. Isaac Owulaku Hood was full of praise to the medical team at the Upper West Regional Hospital for working above themselves to keep the lead on the coronavirus.
We appreciate the good works being done by this hospital. We have been following the media and we have been monitoring the case counts. And let me, on these notes, congratulate the medical personnel here for the wonderful work they are doing here.
Medical Superintendent of the Upper West Regional Hospital, Dr. Robert Amesiye, was grateful to the Freemasons for the kind gesture. He noted that the donation has come at the right time as they are working under strenuous conditions, further compounded by the advent of the COVID-19 pandemic.
It hasn't been easy. Our resource utilization has since increased astronomically because everyone has to use one PPE or the other depending on the situation. But for our situation, it's even more important because we began operations this year in January. And then we are yet to receive our seed money, which is a capital that should enable us provide standard care to our clients.
That's it to wrap up of daily morning news. But I'll be for now. We have more news as we look at the newspapers next. Myself, Mama Vioso Bwaji, and Gifty and Apia. It's up next. This is my biggest motivation for the morning. Tomorrow I'm calling it off.
But you're all right. Like, is there something wrong with you?
I've started feeling well.
Not the fake ones. It has to be real.
No, this is real.
It has to be real.
So my home family be sad.
Roland, say good things for yourself, okay? Say positive things.
Please. Positive things. It's not this one. This one, if you are sick, for the better. You rest at home.
But it's midweek already. It's a Wednesday, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And let me say good morning to a couple of my folks in the Volta region.
Okay, go ahead.
Elom Ashiagbo, morning, no, as well as to your wife. And I hope that Julie is having some great time as well.
Why are you looking at me? You said your list. I haven't said anything.
Andrew Sadugo, you're a legal practitioner. You're a lawyer with the Attorney General's Department, the Volta Regional Capital Hall, and your sweet wife, Diana Apau. Good morning to you and your sweet daughter as well, Serena. You want me to continue?
But you haven't said I'm done.
I'm done.
I don't want to say anything, and then say I'm interrupting you.
I don't know.
Let's go straight away into the newspapers. I have a big birthday dedication, but not now. It will be the last thing I do. There's a special man in my life. Well, in our lives, who is celebrating his birthday today.
Oh, because I got one from Moses Akrobo too, who works with the Daily Graphic. And Moses, good morning to you. I know that you're an ardent viewer of the show. You're saying happy birthday to my good friend and a wonderful man, Letitia Bejo Kenya of Ifia Kwisiminti Municipal Assembly in the Western Region. This one is coming from Moses Akrobo too. He doesn't give out wishes rough. So this means that you're, Letitia, you're a very important friend. Good morning to you. Enjoy your birthday. Your lunch is on Moses. He's assured me.
Okay, let me do my dedication now. Moses will know this man because he's a former boss of ours, but a man who is always there for us. Mr. Ken Ashigbe, it's your birthday today. Happy birthday to you.
You know, he's now Dr.
Right there.
Dr. Ken Ashigbe.
Okay, so happy birthday. He's the CEO of the Ghana Telecoms Chamber. Yeah. And we want to say happy birthday to you.
The dawn.
May you continue to live a healthy, fulfilling life.
Fantastic.
Happy birthday to you. And thank you for always being there.
I love this dedication. This is the biggest of all.
Okay, let's go into the papers. I've got the Daily Graphic, so let's start with that. Front page of the paper. Conquer the world with ideas. President asks presidential pitch winners. 10 winners receive $1 million Ghana cedis each. First Atlantic Bank launches Silver Jubilee. Abhor acrimonious politics. Catholic bishops entreats. Dismissed students pardoned to write examinations. Let's check how the center spread of the paper. House passes registration of births and deaths bill. 2 bodies call for integration of health systems. Justify confidence reposed in you. Minister charges assembly members. And then on the back page, illegal chemical production flourishes at Odoko Otaten. I only know Odoko Otaten. Okay, I guess I'm right. So residents in and around Odoko Otaten still risk contracting diseases as illegal chemical products manufacturers continue with their toxic activities 7 months after officials from the Ghana Standards Authority, the Environmental Protection Authority, and the police raided the community to bust the products manufacturers. The illegal trade revolves around the production, distribution, and sale of illegal insecticides, pesticides, among other household chemicals, ignoring the danger to the environment. The residents of the area, the producers, operate from their homes and other makeshift structures without approval from the FDA and the Standards Authority. The rest of the story, very disturbing one, but if the regulatory bodies do their job, who is to ensure that it doesn't happen again? It's still a regulatory issue. It's an enforcement issue, I guess. Down there, multi-credit savings and loans to reward 600 customers. Also another story in the paper today. We'll come back and touch on some of the stories in the paper, but let's move on and do the Finder. Front page of the Finder, here we go. Front page, CSIR produces immunity-boosting maize varieties. NDC left huge outstanding bills, according to Education Minister. Controller and Accountants General has not directed government workers to update their electronic pay slip with image. 2020 voters registration exercise most violent in history, according to the CDD. Certified seed producers appeal for government support to sell their locked-up seeds. And President Carter sought for 3 health facilities, 661 beds, costing 251.2 million. And I still get confused. Euros. Okay. All right. So that's what you find on the front page of the final and the center spread. Is this bed facility, pictures of the sword cutting of the 3 health facilities in the center spread of the paper. Let's do the Ghanaian Times, front page of the Times. NATS decries indiscipline, disrespect by senior high school student. Ghana's COVID-19 active case count down 2,134 from 2,458. Total confirmed cases now 41,404. Korle-Bu to get first IVF facility on completion of 12-story, 400-bed maternity center. On the back page, practice good hygiene to prevent food contamination. Food vendors advised. Court imposes fines totaling 82,944 Ghana cedis on 230 traffic offenders in Western Region. All right, that's how it looks like with the 3 papers that I have reviewed. Roland Walker, let's see what you've got.
All right. I've got a couple of newspapers that I always love. So let me start with the Daily Dispatch. Good morning to you, Uncle Ben. And your contribution yesterday on Newsdesk was just straight to the point. Today we'll be on another whirlwind as well. On the front page, it says, which political party will benefit most from skirt and blouse voting? And I always love these analyses by Benefson, backed with some great experience as well. We have up there correction in voters register story, Northern Region. Actually, if you do the comparison, the vote registration different, or the voter registration difference is there. And then we have the story well expatiated on the back page as the main story. So you just have to get onto the Daily Dispatch to know the rundown, as we call it. Now let's go to the Daily Guide. Has on the front page, Nana launches 400-bed block at Korle-Bu Teaching Hospital. La General Hospital also has its own starting. That's a good one there. We carried that live right here on JoyNews. So Gakofa killers bought guns from robbery proceeds. Has an inserted picture of the late Marcus Mawuto Ajanle, who was the assembly member of the area at the time. NDC tribal agenda will fail. And that's according to the member of parliament, Collins Owusu-Amankwa. On the back page, so sports, Kotoko CEO advised to consult gods. And this one is coming from Yamwa Ponko. And he seems to have a very good reason for that. And he says that this is Asante Kotoko and not Manchester United. So you must follow the norms and tradition of the club if you want to succeed. He continues, if he doesn't follow the norms and tradition, he will fail, even if he recruits Ronaldo or Messi to play for the team. Herbert Mensah didn't do it, and we lost the cup final here in Kumasi. So it's up to him to do it or not.
Is it true that Kotoko, they've hired like a heart of folk person to...
I don't know. I know that they've hired a young administrator, Nana Yawan Ponsa.
So that was a joke, eh? What I read?
I don't know whether he's a
somebody
person.
saying...
I don't know his history very well.
No, well, I don't even know if it's related to him, but I just saw
but that's the rumor, yeah.
I saw a threat that they had hired a heart of folk person.
Okay. I know that Benedict has been making a lot of noise because he's very close to the football journalist, so
I didn't hear this from Benedict. Don't put this on
I know, no. I'm saying that I got to know about him from Benedict a long time ago. Yeah, when the rumors were that he was going to be appointed as CEO of Kumasi.
So this is actually the CEO of Kotoko.
Yeah, but that's not the CEO.
Okay, but I'm not sure this has to do with him.
I think it's got to do with him. Yeah, because I know that...
What's his link with...
Kumasi Asante Kotoko?
No, what's his link with Accra as a whole?
I can't tell, but, you know, it looks like once you stay in Accra, I'm sure he has some links.
Never say that. Okay, this is our producer, Derek. And Derek, I don't want to repeat it because I don't know. I don't know if he was wearing Accra has a full shirts when he was... Okay, I didn't say that. Roland, finish the paper.
All right, I finished with it, so I'll go on to the next one, which
Maybe he has a soft spot for Accra hat, but that's okay. That's okay.
Doesn't matter.
I mean, our colors are vibrant, right? Yeah. The red and white is boring.
You mean the Kotoko red and white? I think it's the best. I love red.
No way.
I love red.
Look at the hat colors.
They are also equally nice.
It brings
a lot of shades of different colors.
Exactly, that's like...
But I love the red.
Yeah, of course, you will love the red. You're Kotoko. Go ahead.
Okay, so the custodian. The custodian has on the front page, chasing Rawlings out of NDC. Mahama NDC leaders blame JJ Konadu. And it looks like these are the characters in this drama titled Chasing Rawlings Out of the NDC, as couched by the Custodian newspaper. Good morning to Awudu Mahama. You're the managing news editor for the Custodian. And it has atop the pictures former President John Dramani Mahama, Kofi Totobi Kwachi, who was the Minister of Information and for National Security during the NDC period, was also, you know, having his secretaryship position in the PNDC as well. Kwame Pepra, Minister for Finance under President Rawlings. Donato Datse, President Rawlings, Chief of Staff. We have NDC National Chair, also put there, National Samuel Ofosu-Ampofo, and Professor Kwesi Boatway Rawlings, PNDC Secretary and NDC Minister for Finance. So these are the characters in the drama as screenplayed by the Custodian. Audu Mahama, I'll be waiting for the screenplay. And tell me which theater we're going to stage this. Oh, it's already been staged. Now we have EC permitting transfer of votes for students, security personnel also there. And then this one, I head to the Education Minister on Joy FM. I also hear on JoyNews, making a lot of... so government clears 91% of NDC's education sector areas. And this one, I don't know, it was... the one who speaks for the NDC ranking on the Education Committee, Honorable Nochu, trying to justify a lot of things. And I didn't think he just made meat out of it. So today...
But that's when you know that everything from now till the election will be about the election. Every justification, every clarification is towards the election.
And I thought yesterday, Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh just got some 5 points there. It was 5 over 5. Yeah, because they couldn't counter it, well, in my opinion. I mean, that's just my opinion.
Have you seen the news stories about residents? Like every little thing, no, if you don't come and fix it, we won't vote for you.
Yeah, I know, right? The communities.
This is the era of that as well.
This is the payback time.
I've been complaining about the street light. Today I tried to take a video, and I thought, maybe I should have set the camera before I started the journey, because I realized that it's actually the whole stretch until you get to, even when you get to the new plan, and I'm talking about, this is the Ofankor, the highway, even way before that.
The same place, that stretch that they are building, the interchange.
Yeah, so I wouldn't even add that bit, because that place, that road is under construction. So you never know what the final outcome will be. It will be wrong if I said that place didn't have street lights, yeah? So let's leave that. But I'm talking, I'm even talking from Jonte, yeah? You drive on the Ofankor, that entire stretch. So you get to the new plan, you pass the new plan, and you keep coming, like you're coming to this, you're coming to Kokomlimli. I mean, up until, I'm not sure, like you keep driving.
I drive on the motorway all the time.
No light is working.
I can imagine if you're late. And there was a particular time, I think about a couple of years ago, I was coming right here, and I think there was a tie. You know, one of these long trailers or long vehicles, the heavy-duty vehicles, you know, they have, because they're multiple axle, one of the tires just wore off and was in the middle of the road. And I just crashed into it. My bumper was all off.
I have experienced that before.
You have?
Mine wasn't
because
a tire. But you know, when the vehicles break down, they kind of put certain things in the road to warn you. But no lights. Yeah. Everybody is on high. And since I've been very much careful, since my accident, I've been very much careful. When I'm driving, I always have this vision, because there are no street lights, that there's something ahead. So I could drive 80, then I slow down to 60, because you never know. Yeah. Yeah. Very scary. But let me do the Herald before I move on. So the Herald, edited by Larry Dogwe. Good morning to Larry. Been a while. Very good friend of mine. We went to the same school together. So that's a good one. Is it Bishop Herman? Yeah, yeah. Okay. The Herald has on the front page, MPP MPs armed thug busted for almost killing NDC man. As lawmaker, also accused of slapping district police commander during the EC registration. This retreated Monday fully. Right here on JoyNews, and the MP called him as Ali Maiga Halidu, because on the side was also the NDC Deputy General Secretary. I remember Bernice Sewa, and look, Asamwa, Barbara Sewa, Asamwa. We tried as much as possible to try to look at both sides. But this, the caption by the Herald, NIB allowing fraudsters to walk free with booty, and Bollywood confirms Chief of Truth title on Mahama. On the side, Community Water Agency rubbishes threat by private suppliers. And these are the stories we have on the front page of the Herald. All right, I'm done. Mamavi, what's your pick? Well, just I was looking at, well, two issues. There's a story about, and I guess it's been out already, but it's been reported in the Daily Graphic, about a gentleman who's been uploading nude pictures on the internet and defrauding people, extorting monies from them. He's been he's been arrested. I remember we talked about this issue of sextortion. You know, guys, either your ex or somebody who has a hold of your nude pictures, asking you to do all sorts of things. Otherwise, they're going to leak your pictures. So let me just try and get the page again, because I missed it, and let me give the updates. But this gentleman, a 35-year-old, they described, was operating in Osino in the eastern region, and it took the police about 6 months to effect this arrest. Here we go. An administrator of a website that publishes nude pictures and videos of persons allegedly extorts money from the victims has been arrested in a joint operation by the cybercrime unit of the Criminal Investigation Department in the Ministry of Communications. The suspect, Anderson Ofosuhene Enim, a.k.a. Mario G., 35, is alleged to have operated the website for the past 5 years from his home in Osino in the eastern region. Enim, according to the police, was arrested on July 30 when he was in the act of uploading nude pictures and videos of some victims into the website. It took 6 months to arrest the website administrator after the police had mounted surveillance on him and his accomplices. Yeah, so basically that's it. And we're still, with this update, we're still saying
the paper you're reviewing, I think it's for yesterday or today.
Is it? Oh.
No, yesterday.
Who added it to our paper? So I didn't see the paper yesterday.
Yeah.
Was it Moses that reminded us?
Yeah, because I thought, I said dismissed it. I nearly made a comment. Well, see how it goes.
Oh my God. Okay,
so
apologies
I'm told
there.
That
okay, take it over.
Officials of the Daily Graphic said we should retrieve. So we retrieve that. Apologies to you. What we reviewed is...
It's past, actually.
It's yesterday. So we apologize to you, officials of the Graphic Group of Communications. And, well...
Can we go online? Let's do myjoyonline.com.
Yeah, let's do myjoyonline.com. Well, so we have myjoyonline.com, a couple of the newspapers.
Newspapers?
Sorry, a couple of the stories there. So we have Power One, 2 other traditional priests remanded over murder of biochemist at Adaiso. And then we do have other stories there. Also, you scroll up, you'll find Professor Hoy should have started his working with Rawlings book with an apology, Paul Adomotri, and yesterday tried on the Super Money show to draw a certain line of inconsistency with the narrative in the current book in relation to his position in a book that he also co-authored with Nanatu Dati. So that was straightforward. Okay, we are 85% through with making Accra the cleanest city in Africa, Sanitation Minister. So we decided to pick that and have some conversation with our wash expert today. But also on the side, we have the Education Minister. We inherited huge debt at the Education Ministry from Nana Opoku Agyemang, Matthew Opoku Prempeh, the Minister for Education, current Minister. So NERS also narrates how bullet fired at moving taxi damages eye. Mahama asks for clemency for pastor jailed over breach of public gathering rules, says sentence in his draconian. The gentleman didn't go to jail, but his sentence or his fine was paid. We also do have security for 2020 election will be robust, decisive, according to the Ghana Police Service. Police, though, they're scanning La Beach after explosion injured 4 children. Now, we also do have Raymond Acha on that same panel on Tuesday, saying the timing of Professor Hoy's working with Rawlings' book inappropriate. Raymond Acha. Okay, so let's go to the BBC and get the latest updates. We have Joe Biden picks Kamala Harris as running mate, and this is now the trend. The Twitter trend, the various social media trends in the United States, and we're told that she's very big when it comes to justice delivery at a time as Attorney General in a state, and now as Senator is doing some great work, we're told. But it's also because she's a biracial, so it helps. She is of a Jamaican and Indian stock. The mother is Indian, the dad was a Jamaican, but she's American, so that's the most important thing. And then the California senator is the first black woman and Asian American to be a vice presidential candidate. Yeah, isn't she beautiful? But foremostly very intelligent. So she got her position on merit. UK in recession for the first time in 11 years, and it's all because of the impact of coronavirus. On the side too, the impact of the virus on UK economy laid bare. We already know that the exchequer in the UK is saying that the economy shrunk by some 20.4% in the second quarter, highlighting the staggering impact of the lockdown and the impact of the virus generally. Well, Mawavi, we'll have to wrap up.
Yes, and I have to sincerely apologize to the Daily Graphic newspaper for reviewing their paper of Tuesday. I thought it was today's paper. Apologies there to the Daily Graphic. We have to take a breather. We'll bring you sports. Stay with us.
Joy ECL is on tonight on Joy 99.7 FM with George Adu Jr. and Gary Al Smith. The game is Paris Saint-Germain Atalanta. It's the first quarterfinals of the UEFA Champions League. The match is all going down in Lisbon, Portugal. We'll tell you more about that. Also, we'll tell you the teams that have made the next stage of the UEFA Europa League. Last night, 2 matches were played. Of course, Wolverhampton Wanderers unfortunately couldn't make it. Basel in there, and also we'll look at the teams. Of course, as I mentioned, we'll look at the pairings for the quarterfinals. But we have to start with one Ghanaian player who's doing very well for himself. And now Samuel Tete has joined Major League Soccer side New York Red Bulls on loan from Austrian giants Red Bull Salzburg. Now he joins them for the rest of the 2020 season with an option of a permanent deal at the end of the spell. Now Tete is joining us live via Zoom from his base. Tete, a very good morning to you and congrats on this great move to the MLS. Red Bull New York Red Bull from Red Bull Salzburg. You spent, 2 years at Lask Linsk. That was, you ended your loan spell last season. It was great for you, and I'm sure you're looking forward to this challenge.
Well, first, good morning to you, and also thanks for the wish. I'm just looking forward for this new chapter in my career, and I hope it will be a great season for me. So, yeah.
And how did it all come about? I mean, you were last, you played very well, and you went back to Red Bull Salzburg, and we heard that you're moving to New York Red Bull.
After the last game, I was having some discussion with Red Bull. So it was either I go back to Salzburg or I go to a different team. So I spoke with a lot of teams, and I think for now Red Bull New York is the choice I made to go. Yeah.
You know, the coach of New York Red Bull, as well as their technical director, had some wonderful words to say about you. They mentioned that you are one good player they are looking forward to working with. How does that make you feel?
Well, I'm excited to hear what they said about me. It's the same family, it's the same Red Bull family, and I think they've been following me for some years now. They know me even since I signed for Liefering to Salzburg. So yeah, they know what I'm capable of, and they know my potential. So it was nice to hear what they said about me, and yeah, I feel happy.
You made a mark here in Ghana at Wafa before moving to Austria, and it's been great and amazing for you in Austria as well. I mean, now you're moving to the Major League Soccer. We have some Ghanaian players in there. How are you hoping to settle there as well?
Well, I think it's not going to be easy. I must admit, it's a new league and a new environment. But I'm looking forward for this new challenge, and I just want to establish my name in a different league, and yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Sammy, thanks so much this morning for your time. So that was Samuel Tete. He's moved from Red Bull Salzburg in Austria to New York Red Bull. Wish him all the best. And of course, we'll be following him, and whatever happens there, we'll let you know. Well, let's come back home. And Accra Heart of Folk Managing Director Frederick Moore has been explaining the club's decision to let go of some key players. Now, exactly a week ago, the Phobians announced the departure of 5 players, including leading marksman Joseph Esso. Now, top players like Thomas Abbey and Vincent Atenga also previously left the club in similar circumstances. Frederick Moore insists the decision is in the best interest of the club.
You know me well to know, sir, I don't talk about my players. Either positive or negative, I don't talk about my players. Look, I know that sometimes goes against me, because I've seen some social media posts about people who say they've done investigation and they've come up with this and that. And 95% of what they've written is false, right? And the only thing that probably is correct is their name. Right, everything else there is false. But I don't come out and comment on it. Right, because if I do, and I'll tell you why I don't come and comment on my players. When I sit down to talk about negotiations, whether it's a negotiation, whether it's a discussion, whether it's an advice, or whether it's an improvement, I want the player to trust me that whatever we discuss will stay with me. I want the players manager to trust me. If they don't want to be trusted, I guard my integrity and my credibility. It's important to me. So that's why I don't talk about it. It's not because we don't have the facts. Because I don't have these conversations alone. There's always somebody else in the room, right? To take notes, to be a witness, that sort of. But I will never come out and say because if I do that, I'm losing focus. What the person is talking about, no? What he's trying to get me to do, no, is to lose focus. And I'm determined and I'm focused and I'm resource orientated too much to lose focus.
All right, so the game is tonight. The game is tonight, and there'll be live commentary on Joy 99.7 FM. And of course, you can't miss it. It's going to be great. Atalanta doing very well, or they did very well in the Italian Serie A, and Paris Saint-Germain, of course, as I mentioned in my intro, also looking forward to winning this year's UEFA Champions League. So see how it will go down. Remember, it's just one-off game. We are done. No home and away anywhere. So we'll see how that go. But on the local scene, once again, let's do some boxing before we wrap up. On Monday, boxer Patrick Alote called on the GBA to announce the lifting of his 6-month ban after a scuffle with a fan during a game at the Accra Sports Stadium between Kumasi Asante Kotoko and Accra Hearts-of-Oak. And the GBA, they've mentioned that they will communicate the decision to the boxing community by close of the week. There is more in this report put together by Muftar Nabila.
In an interview with Joy Sports on Monday, Patrick Alote called on the Ghana Boxing Authority to announce the lifting of a ban imposed on him 6 months ago. August 3 was scheduled as the date ending the suspension of Mr. Alote, but with the GBA not announcing the lifting of his ban after a week, Patrick Alote called on the boxing governing body to do so.
Because me, I want them to I don't know if the president will agree with me, but to me, I would like them to write a letter and put it on social media like they do to ban me, so that every social media member will see, or everyone on social media will see, so that maybe one day if I'm in the ring fighting, it will not cause any problem outside, because some might know that I've been banned and now I'm in the ring. Some might know that the ban has been lifted, and maybe there will be a misunderstanding that will cause another problem. Yeah.
In a reaction from the Secretary General of the Ghana Boxing Authority, Patrick Johnson said it has escaped their mind, but they will communicate to the public the end of his suspension.
The President prompted me that his time is due, that you have to give him letter by lifting the ban, and that's what we normally do. Anyone we do ban, and when the time is due, we do give the person a letter that we have lifted his ban, and we know such time. We also certainly right to do things correctly. So I think very soon we will give Patrick Alote his letter by lifting the ban on him. In fact, it escaped me in my mind. So it was the president who prompted me. But very soon, by the end of the week, hopefully, I will send him such a letter that the ban has been lifted on him, so that quickly he will start training.
Alote will now have the right to return to the ring when boxing is cleared by the government of Ghana following its suspension due to the COVID-19 pandemic.
Well, that's how we end sports this morning here on the show. I'm Benedict Tosi. Thanks so much for your company. Don't go away. The show continues after this break.
While in the past 2 weeks, COVID-19 related news worldwide has been depressing to both eyes and ears as cases increase and deaths double. But there's a silver lining. Here in Ghana, business owners are getting creative and innovative with tailor-made products and services that best serve the purpose of stopping the spread of the virus. Today on AM Business, Charles Aite speaks to the curator of the popular Veronica Buckets and the pastor-turned-engineer. Here's more.
Since Ghana recorded its first case of COVID-19 in February, the burden for impact solutions to a new way of life has been so heavy. Washing of hands with soap under running water has been the new normal. This public health directive resurrected the name Veronica Buckets. Unique buckets with faucets spotted at vantage points along streets and highways. I sat with the curator of this invention, Veronica Bequin.
I did this in over almost 30 years ago. It's been on the quiet. With the advent of COVID-19, you know the story. The idea was to make this, to provide running water from simple material, just a container fitted with a faucet. With advent of COVID-19, what has happened? Other people have come out with innovations.
As economies world over restrict air travels amid closed land and sea borders, Veronica believes placing priority on science and technology will wean Ghana off its dependence on the West.
We tend to copy too much. You see, even bread selling, you see one person selling bread somewhere. Before you are aware, about 10 other people have joined the person. We should be more innovative and make sure that whatever we come out with, it should be unique, like you rightly said, and people should stop copying the same thing. They should look elsewhere, move ahead, maybe build on whatever exists, and then come out with something different. We are too fond of copying.
Yes, her innovation with the Veronica bucket has been of great impact to Ghana's fight against the virus. But there is one thing Madame Veronica still regrets 30 years on after her invention. She failed to patent her work, especially as many countries around the world have adopted her innovation. She's lost so much cash in this process.
I didn't look ahead to improve upon it, or I never thought that it would be this popular. I didn't patent mine, which was a big mistake on my part. So I hope people out there will help these young ones who are coming up with all these new things to do, first of all, do the patenting, and then encourage them, support them either financially or otherwise, so that they move them ahead.
I'm quite curious to know, so does it mean your innovation wasn't patented?
It wasn't.
That was a huge mistake you made.
It was a huge mistake, and I don't want anybody to make that mistake. So I'm advising the youth who are coming up with all these innovations on the Veronica bucket to really persevere. Make sure they patent, seek support to move it forward.
My name is Reverend T.D. Caleb Atuklu. I'm a Reverend Minister, an ordained man of God. I have a technical knowledge in my technical education.
Test of COVID-19 has now become a testimony for Tete Doji Caleb Atiklu, a local pastor who got his engineering juices reinvigorated by the pandemic. With his church closed during the lockdown, Pastor Caleb returned to his old love of engineering to create a hand-washing machine for the times.
As I was praying one of these days, and before the COVID and during the COVID, that I had the inspiration of the hand-wash machine with being a free hands. And so with that hands, using the paddle to paddle it and operating the valves of the soap and the sanitizer and then the tap. And so we have to devise a means that will be firmly rooted to the tap family, and so that you can operate it and then have it on the sanitizer and the soap, so that when it operates, you will not have your hands, and then you will not get this having spoiled within a short time, but it takes a long time to have it repaired. And so that's basically the whole thing about. And so as you can see behind me, they are working on it, and then we have, this is Timber Market. This place is more like a Kumasi magazine. And so basically what they do here is they have all sort of engine works, all sort of machines. And so this is a machinery setup. And Mr. Kwanzaa is my engineer. He's working on the hand wash machine. And so Royal Wood Hand Wash is what we have here.
But he couldn't do this alone. He needed Joseph, a metal fabricator who brought his idea to reality.
I've been here for 25 good years in machinist, engineering, fabricating. Since I've got one friend, Mr. Godfred Caleb, came here to introduce something to me that can we do it? I said, no, it's a small problem. He said, okay, let's start. So I and my boys started doing something about it. So in fact, we've gone so far to this stage. We see that everything is going on smoothly. So we are on it, completing it. This is the first time I'm getting into the machinist. because mostly I'm in a machinist. So once he brought this, I said, no, I can do it. So let him try so that we can do to help.
When done, this hand-washing technology will make it to corporate entities, schools, hospitals, everywhere. This means money for these workers. On my way to the office, I chanced upon Ernest Aqua, a taxi driver taking COVID-19 safety protocol to an innovative level. Boss, morning, how are you?
Fine.
Everything cool?
Yeah.
And they go Joy FM.
Okay.
How much?
Give me 15.
15?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Please
Thank
wash
you.
your hand. Go. Wash your hand for me.
I should wash my hand?
Yeah.
Okay. I should wash my hand here?
Yeah.
But how does it work?
I will operate it here.
You operate it here?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, so there's already soap inside, right?
Yeah. Then the water.
Oh, I see. This is so smart, Charlie.
Yeah.
So the water too is inside the car?
Yeah.
Wow. So I do all these things before I sit in your car?
Yeah.
It says here, Joe Techniques COVID-19 wash hand. That's quite great, quite smart. It was a jolly ride. I asked Ernest how it all came about.
The time we go lockdown, then I get it in dream. Yeah. The time I get it in dream, then I started think how I can get material to do the thing. Then I started find the material. Then I started make experiments.
I see.
Yeah. So that first day I get the experiment, I did the thing. That one I used gallon.
Oh, okay.
Did it. Then another day I started innovate it.
Wow.
Then third day I did in big one.
Wow.
Yeah. Then I put for the passengers side.
I see, I see. That's great, that's great. So, when your passengers come inside the taxi, what did they tell you?
Oh, they say, hey, this one there, this is the first time people saw this machine. Yeah. The first time. This he said this coronavirus bring things in world.
I see. So I mean, this is the only car that I've seen in Accra so far which has this thing inside. As a driver, what message do you have to government?
As at night, my mind is like government to help me to everybody have a car in Ghana, then I'll get this machine in a car. Yeah, because if you come enter the car, then you wash your hand before you enter the car. That one is good.
Resilience and creativity are critical to fighting COVID-19 in a battered global economy. Although the government has injected massive support for businesses, innovative minds and products can best ease the burden of the pandemic. It's quite interesting if you listen to the stories of Madam Veronica, the curator of Veronica Buckets, Pastor Caleb, the pastor turned engineer, and even that of Joe, the taxi driver who has this gadget attached to his taxi. It's quite clear. One story resonates around all their submissions. The fact that amidst COVID-19, they are eager to use their innovations and their sense of creativity to not just come up with niche products, but as well to ensure safety protocols of COVID-19 are adapted to. I'm Charles Iazi reporting for Joy Business.
And that's all for AM Business on the AM Show. AM Business comes your way every Wednesday right here. So if you did enjoy that, and I hope that you did, make a date with us again. Next week is brought to us courtesy EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank.
We all do know that one major objective that the Akufo-Addo-led government or administration set for itself is to make Accra the cleanest city in Africa. We have to ask some questions, especially or premise on the fact that the current Minister for Sanitation says that that achievement is now pegged at 85%, and for any score rating that will be an A. But we also need to ask the perspective
of
those
an A class, isn't it? Depending on the
school, actually.
Yes.
Depends on the grading system. So now we need to ask the questions. Are we really at 85% cleaning stage of our city, and have we done or achieved as we said we would? Is a big question.
Yeah, absolutely. But first, we want to remind ourselves of what the minister said again. So here we go with Sanitation Minister and what she alleges now, that their objectives of making Accra the cleanest city is now at 85%.
We are here to assess the situation of environmental cleanliness and general sanitation, because we are doing sanitation or cleaning every day. But some issues like clogging the drains becomes a bigger issue for the residents. Hence, the presence of Zoom Lion and the squad or team, the military, to assess the situation, because normally we work hand in hand with them, and then the assembly also. So we came here this morning to assess the situation and to make sure the drains are rid of these plastics, because if they are not removed, access for water flow will be difficult. Yes.
And one of the promises elections was to make Accra the cleanest city.
Yes, and you saw it during the lockdown.
Yes. How far would that promise?
I will give it 85%, because at the end of the day, you all saw the 100% we did during the lockdown. So who makes Accra dirty? Us. That's why we are every day sensitizing people to make sure. I'm telling you, I know you will quote it, and I insist it's 85. You will rate it maybe 100%. Thank you.
What do you make of the minister's rating? She said she knew that we were going to quote it. Yes, indeed, she's the Minister of Sanitation. What's your own assessment of the situation? Is it 85%? Is it an A? Is it an A+? You can join us later on. But Roland, we've got some, we have Nancy Emafajra-Dosif joining us from Choco, but we do have some people that we'll be talking to as well.
Yes, definitely. We'll try as much as possible get to the Accra Metropolitan Assembly. They tend to do the environmental inspection. Emmanuel Adai is a water and sanitation and health expert. They do the monitoring. They get to look at what really is going on within the communities, and how well the agencies of state and those in the private sector should be coordinating to make sure if we go by the number 85%, would have achieved that. Okay, so Emmanuel, thank you for joining me.
Okay, thank you very much, and good morning to you and all your viewers.
Yeah. So myself and Mamavi will try to ask some questions. I know Mamavi doesn't have...
I've got a first question, though.
Yeah, great.
How does 100% clean city look like?
That is the best question I think that has come out this morning, because it depends on how what parameters you are looking to do the assessment. If you ask me, 100% sanitation is where all the drains are very clean and most of them even covered, where we have sustainable systems in place to always ensure that those drains are clean. All the rubbish and refuse and waste that you see have some systems that are sustainable, that are self-monitoring, right? I don't think if you organize regular cleanups in communities, that is the solution to the problem, because people will still go back and litter. So where are the laws? How are we enforcing them? What are the systems in place to ensure that people even don't dare to litter? How often do waste management service providers evacuate the waste as they accumulate in the cities. Look at the drains. People have even connected their household effluent into the drains, and sometimes even their toilets, they flush directly into drains. Look at the Odo River. How clean is it? Can't it be like a tourist site where people go and be cruising for recreation? These are some of the parameters that some of us look for. And also everybody having access to decent household toilets so that they will not be compelled to go queuing at public toilets, or even worse still, to go defecating in the bush or along the drains or at the seashore. These are some of the things that some of us look for in the cleanest city. But to this very particular question, I don't know what parameters that government, or let me say the minister, is using.
But here's something that's very familiar from what you've narrated. Everything that you've said is actually what, from my point of view, we're experiencing here in this city. What you said shouldn't be happening is what is happening. So let's use your own assessment, because you do a lot of monitoring. Rates us in terms of this city today, Accra.
In my own assessment, I don't even believe we are up to 25% clean. If we are talking about cleanest city in Africa, there are much cleaner cities on the continent than what we have in Accra. We have Pretoria, Johannesburg, Kigali. I mean, all these cities, we don't match them in any way. So I don't think we are cleanest now. And if I was to monitor and rate, I would not give it beyond 30%.
30%?
30.
Okay. But do you appreciate the parameters that she used, though?
That is what I don't know yet, because based on the clip that we just saw, I don't know which parameters she used. But then she seems to be making reference to cleanups where we clean and you see all the compound, the whole community, the whole area clean. That one, yes, you can see that everything is clean, so it's 100%. But you leave it behind, and for minutes or maybe for some few hours, you see the rubbish back into the drains, back into the streets. You see people continuing to litter. So I don't know which parameters she used, but if the parameters was just about mobilizing people to clean an area within some few hours or within a few days, well, she could be right, but some of us don't see it that way if we want the city to be the cleanest.
She did make reference to when the city was under lockdown, and did mention that we got to 100% then because the entire city was clean. Would you agree with that assessment?
That is my confusion, because when there is lockdown and within 2-3 weeks, you mobilize people to clean areas, you would definitely see that the place is clean. Why? Because people are not allowed to be walking about, or to be hawking, or to be trading, and so on, transacting businesses. So obviously the place will look clean. But even that one, what systems were left behind so that when people return, the place will continue to be clean? That is the question yet to be answered.
So what's our problem? What is failing us? Is it the lack of systems, or is it the people?
Well, a combination of the people and the system, but always I want to blame it on the systems, because when the systems are there and they are right, people will not have the chance, or people will not even dare to continue to litter.
What kind of systems do we need again? We have a sanitation ministry.
Yeah, the ministry is there, but the ministry needs to be supported with an agency that is always on the ground monitoring people. The ministry should have an agency that has the mandate or the power to enforce the laws. The ministry should have systems or service providers that are always on the ground doing the work. So yes, there should be systems in providing, let's say, toilets to every house, or ensuring that every house has a decent toilet. There should be systems in place where as soon as you litter, there's somebody there to arrest you and prosecute you. There should be systems where systematically, let's say, all our drains are covered such that you will not even see the litter in them. There should be systems in place for waste collection, transportation, treatment, and final disposal. All these systems are not yet fully in place, though there are some systems in place. That is why I rate it around 30%, because these are not adequate systems. You see, I think that's the other rain that we are drain or the river that we are seeing there. Elsewhere in the cleaner city, this will be a tourist site where people will be using boats and so on to be holidaying there for tourists to also for the tourism industry to also be earning. But what we see there is like periodic dredging, and then after a few weeks, all the filth and the silt are back. These are not the systems that we are looking for.
Okay, what we are seeing is live visuals actually from Choko Chimwena. So this is a current situation. This is live as in today. And that's what you're talking about. If indeed this was the cleanest city, then we shouldn't be seeing this.
Exactly. No clean city will be witnessing this kind of situation. This is a very beautiful natural resource if we had taken very good care of it. And all of us would like to maybe spend our Saturdays there, you know, drinking or taking some kebabs and cruising. But this situation, when you are passing by, you want to run so that you run away from the stench. And that cannot be the cleaner city I think that Ghanaians deserve.
Well, we will come back to you, Mr. Dai. Stay with us. You're with us throughout on this conversation. I want to link up with my colleague, Nancy Emefajiradosi, who is live from Choko now. She was bringing us those visuals, of course. Nancy, what can you report? We've seen the visuals. Tell us about the situation on the ground. Can you stand it, though? Because even when you're driving through, you're sitting in the vehicle, you want the vehicle to quickly pass.
Well, Mama Viso, as you said earlier, we are right here at Chemwena. It took us some 20 minutes from the office to get here, and we decided to observe the sanitation situation on our way here. Well, at some instances, we saw some Zoom Lion vehicles sweeping, people sweeping the roadside and all. There were also some parts where you will still find gutters filled and choked with rubbish. But we decided to come here to Chemwena because you know that AM show, we've been here several times. I remember 2 years ago, we were here. We heard from residents, we heard from the people who actually take care of this garbage that is behind me. Today, I've been able to locate the same man. I want to find out from him. It's been 2 years since I came here, whether the sanitation situation has improved. And I mean, some of these people living here in Choko also go out of their neighborhood. So we just want to really assess what they think has been done, because the minister says 85% of the president's promise has been fulfilled. So let me speak to the gentleman around me, and then please come closer to me, and then let me speak to you. All right. Mpacho Medase, good morning. Now, Menowo Ekasa 2 years ago, when I was operator of this way, 2 years ago, complaining about the sanitation situation. Now, ene Menowo Kase, we okay. There was an improvement abim.
Accra. But I remember they were going to say, I didn't chance, I didn't na your body go from Camina down in Baku Kanwa. In Quebec, me contain and Baku Kan, Quebec, my a bebwam legum. I did say, environment in the Yesni fashion. There was a township bridge in the Caution, so many no more gwenny, as I know money in a few.
Now, then now doing say air account, is it saying Cofona na ABCC education no air cord down or someone I said then I would doing say because when I watch na check then I would doing say ACIM and Cofona sir.
The meet my guy say insurance no say ampoano no say we nyankofo gina onu ma sha onu mpo 2 ball and go say nkofo bi gina as I think of no mo hwe say on so nye clean a be fine won you mo so la machin the ball and nanti consume and so to me I de oba de me wa it just on pass can ba de enye enti so mo nya chance fe wo ni ko to ni mutu ni a ball good for mo nya better o just here na o machi and na o machi do mo to me so at any time enti enyo bi o hwe ho ni etu an ke month dia mo say I be fine you try ha nyina o so obi gina ho no na o control sa ho na ball an consume so no sa
Let me just briefly translate what he's saying. So he's saying that 2 years ago, yes, he complained that the place was very filthy, but he says that there's been an improvement. One, because people are beginning to change. He says years ago, people throw rubbish all about. He comes to work at dawn and he finds people throwing rubbish into the lagoon. But today, the situation is still the same, but he feels that there's been a general improvement. He's just wishing that there will be more sunny guards around to ensure that, you know, they are able to check people, because it's an attitudinal problem according to him. But I have other residents, let me also just engage them to find out. How many years have you been living here?
Oh, I'm here only 2 weeks now.
Oh, you've been here for only 2 weeks?
Yeah.
Generally, yeah. It's been 2 weeks, but what do you make of the sanitation situation here at Chimoina?
Actually, for now, I can see improvement is coming.
How do you see there's an improvement when you've been here for only 2 weeks?
But sanitation, so far, no say is the nyama via da oboko. But just question here.
You maybe say what now for 2 weeks? Now 2 weeks no buy obet na Chimoina no. Wo share sanitation situation na wo krom ha etisen ma.
Oh, but me ba ha no na me ni ha for the past 1 year. But me ba ha no me who say ebo. Because me buy me use machine a clear ha over be juma na me krom su me nanti krom no me share hu krom bia e det bia sa first unama from Accra na faroba na beta wani from faroba na be sheba tade me boot ni na say me san share hu sa niam no nti say me say de hu ha nyina asa say machine a clear ha nyina nti bola mu san obi aba no da betu top no nti say container na ye ma ye twa say bia ka ba be fa yes, in the first, no.
And so, you said then, accounted for it in Kofor, as a son, now said then the AC and Kofor differently from years ago.
Oh, they say, my husband Kofor and Casano Mutium was say, or Marcasam City of Muyen, first name, is a Mutium was to say, or see any see, never isn't a BFA. And this is Omukas son of a bonnet to be done with that too. Is Omukasan Musori and now Omdavetu. Okay. Is it be the decor and Faro Bantu from Keke or the Shane who are not kita or do that's been one? No, there are two. I'm a
okay, frozen.
But a friend is somewhere.
Okay, so someone is also saying that he's seen a general improvement. He says that at first people used to throw rubbish about indiscriminately, but the situation has changed. He doesn't feel like he doesn't see people just dropping rubbish just anywhere. So he feels that it is now that education is getting down to the ordinary Ghanaian. They are now beginning to understand the importance of sanitation. But I have someone who is quite relatively older, an older generation. Let me speak to him. Good morning. What's your friend saying?
I'm so sorry.
Antonio. Now, what's now? How many years ni?
Oh, my friend, about say 20 years ago.
Okay. And he said, okay, 20 years ago. Yankasa about Chimoina pe ebia Accra, the whole of Accra. Na Accra ye fina de bia ngofo bo de rose munja ye fina moye no. O hwe de kaneno ene a. Obeka say insisa ye bia bemu ana.
Insisa abem kra before na ahaye fi papa obi also tumutol bola dugu what eyim. This is a dago e bola e ba nu. Wa me ha e clean. Ndi ha ma me se ha sasa.
Then insina e basa.
Oh, before na chere contain ni ha no. Ana obi aso ha na ode egum lagoon and to am the album.
All right. So Mr. Foy is simply attributing this change to the fact that now a lot of waste bins have been introduced into the system. He says that at first you can go several miles and then you would not find a single dustbin, but now the availability of dustbins have caused or allowed for the improvement in our sanitation. He is speaking generally for residents living here at Chimoina. He says that it would even be better if they have more of the bins situated here. So Mama V, you can from here at Chimoina, people feel that well, their community here is clean. It's cleaner than before. It's cleaner than 2 years ago. And so they are relatively happy. And they are also saying that it's because residents have now understood the importance of sanitation.
Okay, great reporting there, Nancy Emefajiradosi, live from Choco. Let's go back to Mr. Emmanuel Adai, who's the wash expert with us this morning. What's your reaction to that conversation? The fact that the people say education is going down now, people are beginning to understand the whole concept of cleanliness.
That is very good news. It's a very welcome news because, yes, people have to understand the education has to go down very well to the people so that they understand or they know the reason why they don't have to later about. That is welcome news. And I'm also happy that they are seeing an improvement in their environment. That is also welcome news. But we all saw the visuals as well, from our screens. And that is not an indication that we are 85% clean. For instance, that community, I don't know how it used to be in the past as they are referring to, but what we see now is nowhere near to a cleanest community. That is the point we are trying to make. But we are very happy that systems are being put in place, the education is going on, the people are beginning to understand, and even they themselves are requesting for more measures to be, instituted by, let's say, bringing in more inspectors around to be prosecuting people and so on. That is the kind of thing that we need. Those are some of the systems that we want to see in place. That should be very systematic to cover the whole city. We are not saying nothing is being done at all. Definitely, efforts are ongoing.
Okay, I was just going to say that, but we also have to be optimistic. We're not where we used to be last year, for instance, are we?
Exactly. No, definitely there's an improvement. The streets are cleaner today than probably what we saw 3 or 5 years ago. That is good. Yeah, that is good. But we also don't have to be over ambitious to say that we are almost there while there's a lot of work to be done.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So in a nutshell, what I think is that there should be a roadmap of the system that we want to put in place and the timelines that where we want to see the city as cleanest. You see, we are trying to measure the president over the 4 years that he promised. I don't think that can take us up to the 85%. It is a good ambition, but let's take our time as a country to have a roadmap, a national roadmap of making our cities the cleanest, so that we take our time to build on what we have been able to do today. Right.
So does it mean that from your perspective, this whole mission or vision of making Accra the cleanest city is just something that we've said? There's nothing on paper, is there?
I would not say there's nothing on paper. Definitely the government should have some plans, but I hardly see it as a time-bound plan. Because if it is time-bound, then we say that, okay, we are doing this over 4 years, or we are doing it over 8 years or 50 years, and these are the indicators that we are going to be monitoring along the path. I'm yet to see a comprehensive paper like that. But obviously, once there's budget for sanitation and there are some earmarked activities to be undertaken within the budget year, I wouldn't say there's nothing on paper. But I think we need something beyond just a national budget or an annual plan. There should be a comprehensive roadmap and even like a design of the city that we want to see, maybe in the next 5 years or in the next 10 years or so. We are yet to see such a design. We haven't yet seen a new plan for Accra that will make it the cleanest city.
Well, in other countries, like you take Egypt, they're building a new city altogether, investing a lot of money in that. So that's also one of the means. But the minister also did indicate that you compare the situation now, for which she pegged the rating at 85% and 100 for the lockdown period, and the situation that we're seeing with people's behavior, generally, that's got to do with why the city is what it is. Is it that you think that it is the enforcement that we need that is that is lacking, and so that is where we fall short?
Enforcement is a major factor. It's but one of the, I would say that's the most important factor. But then there are other factors as well. The funds that we want to allocate to solving this problem are not adequate. And also, as I said, there's no comprehensive plan. So it means you react to situations. When the rains are about to start, you quickly go and dredge the drains. That is not a systematic plan. What plan do we have to ensure that even the drains are not littered at all? So that maybe if you have to dredge, it will be just occasional thing, not just because of the fear that there's going to be rain. So yes, Sensitization is also a very, very good factor. That should continue. But yesterday I was having some argument with some police officers who thought that COVID-19 awareness activities were no longer necessary because everybody is already aware. That is just similar to saying that people should stop going to church because everybody has already heard the word of God. We keep talking, but the moment we stop talking, the situation will be worse. So that is why sensitization must go on alongside enforcement plus infrastructure development. These are the three key things that we need to put in place. There's infrastructure, there's a whole plan for waste collection, waste transportation, waste treatment, and waste disposal. You see it. If you don't have a plan along this value chain, there's nothing that we can do that will solve the problem. And if you have this beautiful full plan and then people are also misbehaving and we are not punishing them as a deterrent for others to follow, then we'll go back to square one, even with the infrastructure in place. And then sensitization, because always people have to be reminded to do the good thing. And that is human behavior. We can't do away with that. So these are the three core key things that we have to look for: enforcement, infrastructure, and also sensitization.
Well, we'll see how that goes. But that's been Emmanuel Adai, water and sanitation and health experts, and looking at the perspective of where we're coming from, where the Minister for Sanitation pegging how far we've achieved in getting our city clean to 85%. Yeah, it was 100%, she said, during the lockdown, which we know Accra was clean within the... No one was walking on the streets, but it also shows that, well, you have to get what it is.
We're grateful to Mr. Emmanuel Adai for the analysis and this conversation. We also we took you live to Choco when Nancy Emefajira-Dosi also engaged some residents. Stay with us, the AM shows. Road to Parliament one-on-one with a man who wants to unseat Zanetor Rawlings. The new Patriotic Party's Prince Appiah Deborah is gunning for the Klote seat. That conversation is up next.
It is always important that you take stock as an individual. And one of the things that are always done is always to ensure that you also have great team members around you. And one of the things that the Member of Parliament for the MPP for this area, Prince Appiah Deborah, has been able to do is to get the right caliber of party members, executives and supporters to be with him. A key question is who will be able to sacrifice for his campaign, as he knows that his opponent also has some support on the other side. But if you have a great interaction with his team members, executives of the party in the constituency, as well as some notable residents, you would have great insight into how far his work to ensure that he's able to get into their minds. Wonderfully, they, as team members of the campaign of Prince Appiah Deborah, are willing to sacrifice and are very sure that he will succeed as the next Member of Parliament for the constituency. Now, Mr. Appiah Deborah, you told me that the community is on your heart. Now you take the people of the community deeply into your heart, you say.
Exactly.
Again. But look, we do know that the people of the constituency, indeed, like communities like Osu, where we currently are, you've brought us here, have some of the biggest concerns as far as living in a very cosmopolitan Accra. But that's a big issue or a big hurdle that you have to
Exactly. Look at the Klote Lagoon. Just behind you is the Klote Lagoon. And lagoon, by definition, is a natural reservoir. It holds water, if you care to know. Accra lies below sea level, and there are a number of lagoons that carries the water from the Krapim Hills into the sea.
I see.
Amongst them is the Klote Lagoon of Osu. There's another one behind the Independence Square that is called Najinye.
And the Independence Square is just
Yes, it's dead, it's gone. You can't see it like this again. And then you have the Kole Lagoon, which also is, we mention it because it's part of the name of the constituency, but it actually doesn't lie within here. Now, this lagoon, which is now a swampland, used to be a vibrant water body. As a kid, I used to swim in this. You can't even walk in this. There's nothing pleasant about the Klote Lagoon as it stands now. And last week, the Municipal Assembly, i.e. the Klote Municipal Assembly, brought in excavators, and they've tried to dredge it up.
Just last week?
Just last week. They've carried tons, over 20,000 tons of garbage from this water. They just haul them away. There's still remnants of it that needs to be carried away from the site. The important thing is we need to bring back the Kole Lagoon again. In other words, this Klote Lagoon needs to be restored.
I see.
Because of the fact that we are not able to deal with it properly the way we ought to. It's part of the incessant flooding that occurs anytime it rains. Because all the water that carries from Dankwa Circle area comes through the Suriga area, comes this way and empties into the sea. But as you can see, this is stagnant water. It doesn't move. It's full of garbage. So it comes down this way. This place is already saturated. It's filled up. And then there's a back flow of water back into the community. And that's why we have problems in Klote Kole when it comes to flooding in this part of the city.
But this will mean that we have hundreds of households, thousands of people just within the catchment area of what used to be the Kole.
Yes. Now,
and based on your assessment, what do you think really just desilting or dredging this could ultimately solve for?
It's not enough. If we are restoring the Klote Lagoon, it's not enough to just desilt it or dredge it. We need to firm up the sides, and we need to really empty it out and put these big garbage carriers advantage points so that every 3 days they are emptied out. The people throw garbage into the lagoon because there's nowhere else for them to dispose of their garbage. And so they come in and they throw it in there, and it's normal fare. We shouldn't allow this. As a government, it is incumbent on us to make sure that the people can dispose of their garbage properly. And this is a source of livelihood for the people of Klote Kole. Now, when I was growing up, there were no houses here. It was all swampland.
You used to live here? Close by?
Yeah, close by. So we drift to the seashore. You swim in the Kole Lagoon, and then you go and swim in the sea.
That means you would have been a very good swimmer.
Yeah, I'm a good swimmer.
And at the time, I'm thinking that the water was flowing, just like you painted.
The water was flowing, crabs that you could catch, and the wildlife was pleasant. There were birds because you used to have these swamps, and this is also, how we call it, a World Heritage Center for migratory birds. But now you don't see any migratory birds around because of the way we've treated it.
Now, if we have to take a proper assessment of what the people of the constituency need, let's say you have to designate that in order preference, 5, what would they be?
5 in order of preference, I'll go first with education.
Education.
Then 2, I'll go with sanitation. And this falls squarely within the area of sanitation. Then 3, ecological restoration. And then 4, cultural education. And 5, sports. Now, if we go into the details, you realize that they intersect at various points. But education is key. And then the ecological factor, the Kole Lagoon restoration, the Najin restoration, the Klote, this is the Klote, the Kole restoration. These all impact the quality of life in Accra. And it's important we take it as a national issue. Of course, this is in Klotekoli, so we will talk about it. But these are national ramifications, because this will serve as a buffer against the flooding that we experience every year. And we want to take it up that way.
Now, somebody will say, you're a typical politician. But the point is, you grew up wanting to aspire to be Member of Parliament.
Yes.
So you may have honed your skills either within the party or in your formative years. And you've told us earlier how you came into being as a politician. This is all political talk. If I was a resident, I would say. What would you say to that? What would be your response?
Yes, that's why our motto is New Direction. We want to redirect the energies and the focus of the people to using politics as an instrument of change. I'm a lawyer, I'm an accountant, so sometimes I like to do the cost-benefit analysis. Now, I think it was Lenin, Vladimir Lenin, who was the first child of the USSR, who made the point that politics is the most vocal expression of economics. So yes, this is politics, but for me, it's also economics. If we're able to do these 5 things that I mentioned, that you asked me to order in my preference for the people of Klotekoli, it will revamp the local economy. It will bring back the fishing. Now, just across the street over there, we used to have what we call the heist company, where the fisher folks, after coming with a bumper harvest, will send it to the heist company for the fish to be stored. So there's always abundance of fish. It mitigates against the up and downs of the fishing season, where at one time you have a bumper harvest and at another time you have a lean season. So what we need to do is to be able to improve the livelihood of the people here through ecological restoration, through cultural education, so that their skills and their well-being can be enhanced. And we don't want to politicize that. But that said, we won't be able to obtain political power, to get a seat at the table, so that we can really advocate for what the people need here. And that is what is sorely missing.
Since the Fourth Republic started, you've only had a Member of Parliament who is of the MPP stock at the time.
And Honorable Nyadumante. And we owe a lot of gratitude to him, because if you cast your mind back, and it's not long ago, he was the MP from 2000 to 2008. If you cast your mind back, there was no flooding in the Odo for the all 8 years that he was the MP. There was no flooding. I mean, you can fact check that. There was no flooding. And what did he do? He was mainly from Adabraka, and he understood the problems there. So there was constant dredging of the Odo drain, which is 18 feet deep, but it's mostly filled with sand and silt. So they make sure they cleared it all the times, and they made pathways for the drains to empty into the Odo drain, so that there's always movement. Water must flow. Water is not supposed to sit. Water must flow, and that is what is sorely lacking here. And we want to pick a page from his book and be able to create a model that will be repeatable here and at the Odo River.
From what you talk about, it means that it is the flooding situation that has now engulfed a community which used to be the lights of Old Accra.
The light of the country. Okay, now this river, this Kolodi Lagoon, goes this way. Now, if we go a little left, you see the Christian Ball Castle. It was beautiful scenery. See pristine water moving in, mixed with the sea just behind the Christian Ball Castle. And it's so refreshing to come around and enjoy the scenery and swim in the Kolodi Lagoon and swim in the sea. So these are some of the things we intend to revisit. I'm normally filled with nostalgia when I'm talking about this, and therefore it is very important that we take the bull by the horn so that we can solve the problem once and for all.
And I'm just reading something from the internet. You said that what the people need in my constituency is to ensure that we improve their livelihoods and provide them with proper drains and create the atmosphere for them to continue their trade and then also their livelihoods.
Exactly.
But I do know it is your government, the government led by Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, who is in power.
Exactly.
So everything should come on the silver platter.
It doesn't come that easily. And I can vouch, I can say that the movement towards the attainment of municipal status for Klote Kole or Kole Klote was bipartisan. When we had that movement, all the people in there were indigenes who did not identify themselves as NDC or NPP. We just came together. We had in the Honorable Gashon, who is the assemblyman here. We had in Belmingo. We had myself. We have the man who is now the MCE, Honorable Niaje Tawia. We were all there. And we brainstormed about the need, the utmost importance for a municipal assembly for Klote Kole, separate from the AMA, because we realized they weren't paying too much attention to Osu. The assumption is that Osu is okay, and they collect the revenue from this side of Osu, whilst ignoring where the people actually live and sleep. And that was the motive behind the movement for the attainment of municipal status for Osu. We are going to continue in the same bipartisan approach. And now, mind you, Klote Kole Municipal Assembly is only 1 year old. And we are putting in the establishment documents and the foundation, as it were, to be able to tackle these things comprehensively. And we intend to continue with that. And that is why it's so important that you have somebody in there who understands the agenda and the purpose for the creation of the Klote Kole Municipal Assembly.
I do know one thing, that in preceding your primaries for the MPP, for the constituency, you were tagged in the media as Osu boy. Why?
It's a moniker that came out of the primary. I did not call myself an Osu boy. My opponent at the time, my good friend Ari Kwoti, is from Adabraka. And I didn't know, because we ran on the ticket of unity. And I called myself Unifier at the time. It turns out that they were calling him the Adabraka boy and they were calling me the Osu boy. So it was on the day we had the primaries that I think Pfizer, who is the Assistant Secretary for the constituency, said that, oh, it's obvious the Osu boy is going to win. And that is where the name Osu boy came from. I'm now proud to call myself an Osu boy because I'm passionate about what happens here, but the constituency is bigger than Osu. It includes Asylum Down, it includes Adabraka and Tudu. These are all economic powerhouses, cultural heritage for the country that we must be able to restore these communities, bring them alive again. And that is what we intend to achieve.
And next, you want us to go to your party office and then go have a conversation with your other either delegates but also executives of the party and your campaign team. What should we be looking forward to when we see you interacting with them?
Well, you should be looking for commentary about the new energy we've brought to the MPP in Klote Kole. We should be talking about the visionary leadership that we are providing. And you should be hearing about the importance of unity, because we just lost the 2016 election. And if it had not been for our own internal squabbles, I wouldn't be standing here by now. And therefore, it is important that we patch all the fault lines, bring the people together, unite them for a common purpose. And at this point, we are not only uniting the MPP stalwarts, we are also bringing on board the NDC people who really care about this constituency and want to see a visionary leader who can advocate for the things that will impact the lives of the people who live here.
Well, let's make our way and go and meet your campaign team and also the executives of your party. It promises to be a great conversation. You know, Osu is always an interesting place, so we'll see how it goes with us.
All right. Now, this must go. This definitely shouldn't be here.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Definitely.
So either we burn them out or we take them out of this place, because it doesn't add to the beauty of the environment. And it is not cool. And so these are some of the things that you should have a very low threshold of tolerance for this. It shouldn't be here like this. And we have to do our best to make sure that we clean it up. We started a cleanup exercise last week, and we will continue doing it. The excavator is still sitting there, but we need the big garbage stuff to be cutting these things on regular basis. It should be part of the daily routine of managing the lagoon. All right.
Now, right from Adabraka, we've been able to go through many of the areas in your constituency, Osuari, and we've now come to the Independence Square. But we do know that it is also because we have to do the things that are necessary for the constituency. Do you think that if you look at what lies ahead, you have what it takes to win the seats come December 7, 2020?
Yes, we are at the risk of sounding cocky. We believe that by the grace of God, we'll win this seat for the New Patriotic Party. We have what it takes. I was born and raised here. I attended in my formative years from ABC or kindergarten all the way to Ghana Law School. I lived here. And I believe that with my skills as a lawyer and a chartered accountant and a business owner and entrepreneur, I see things very differently. And for me, look at the beauty of the Atlantic Ocean. In other countries, this will be the precious real estate.
Yeah, true. The most expensive
we don't
that you can ever have.
We don't have hurricanes as they do in Florida. We don't have tsunamis as they do in other places. All we have is sunshine and a beautiful beach. And still we are messing it up. So I believe sincerely, with my background and my vision, I believe we can work together with the government and the people to bring some sanity to this part of the country. In fact, this is the belly of the country. Everything significant in Ghana lies within the boundaries of the Klotikole constituency. And it is ultimately important that we take very good care of it. And that is what I intend to do.
If I want to ask just a very simple question, based on what you've said so far, if I want to describe you to one of my colleagues who wants to know who Prince Appiah Deborah is, who would I say Prince Appiah Deborah is?
Prince Appiah Deborah is a seasoned professional, but more importantly, he's a public-spirited person. We wouldn't be doing this if we don't believe in the innate genuineness of the Ghanaian. And we believe that it's about time that we contribute our little bit to the development of Ghana. And I've become a fond proponent of the stupidity theory. It's a theory propounded by Carlo Cipolla. He's an Italian economist. He propounded a theory in 1976. He died in the year 2000. And it makes a lot of sense if you looked at it. 5 simple principles. First, there's an abundance of stupid people. 2, you don't underestimate the power of a stupid person. So a rational person underestimates the stupid person at his own risk. 3, it answers the question of who's a stupid person. A stupid person is somebody who does things that is not beneficial to himself, but he still continues to do it because he thinks it's hurting the other person. 4, for the rational person to function, he must work harder than the stupid person. And 5, for a country like Ghana, we must do everything to reduce the number of the stupid in the society so we can move forward. And therefore, I believe in the free SHS program. There are a lot of things that you can say, but people will not understand or appreciate it. When we talk about ecological balance, we talk about a beautiful beach. People really don't appreciate it because they don't see what we see. And the work we are trying to do is to open their eyes to the beauty of the sunshine, the beauty of a clean beach, the beauty of a balanced society, where everybody has the opportunity to grow and prosper. Now, in the Klote-Kole constituency, we have an abundance of resources. Resources in terms of human capital, resources in terms of human capital, resources in terms of educational facilities, resources in terms of abundance of government facilities in this constituency. This is our forest. This is our gold mines. This is our the things others will use to harness and beautify their lives. And we intend to make the most of it. So, with the help of God and with the belief we have in God, we believe we can bring all the people of Osu together, bring all the people of Adabraka together, bring all the people of Asalom down together, bring all the people of Tutu together to harness our creative energies and talents in education, in skills training, in sports, to make sure that we also enjoy the endowments of our Creator, which is to have a good living, a good life. And that is the image of a Klote-Kole that I see. I see growing up here, and when you tell people, they are amazed. We used to have nomad buses.
Back in the day.
Nomad buses.
Yeah.
So you knew that if you
Which one of them? Was it the OSES and...
The OSES, Omnibus Services Authority. We have covered bus stops with Kofi Adeka playing Ghana Muntie in there, giving you the news whilst you are waiting for the bus.
And those are the days you want to see?
The schedule was there. So you knew when 6A was coming, 7A was coming, 6B was coming, 24, 36. And they have designated stops with conductors standing at the door of the bus. If you are in a school uniform, you ride free. The only condition is that if you saw an elderly person, you stand for them to sit down. We used to go to Kingsway, we used to go to Glamour Store, we used to go to Ghana House during our days. Those times we call them our days. The last day of the school we call our day. And you go there and you had Ashino chocolates, the chocolate decorated with beads. And then you have the Piccadilly biscuit that we used to make sounds with. And then you saw Father Christmas, i.e. Santa Claus. These were things of old that we enjoyed as youth in the country, in this very country. The schools I attended, public schools all the same, but there was a clinic nearby where you get your teeth cleaned every month or every 3 months. At least once in the term you get your teeth cleaned. Your nails are checked. And they march you to those children's library where you pick a book, read it, give the teacher a review before you return it back to the library.
Yeah.
It gave us the opportunity to enjoy life, to grow, and to become who we are today. Not to leave out the influence of the missionaries and the missionary schools dotted along the coast of Osu here. So these are the things we speak about with nostalgia. And we believe it's one of the best things a government can do for its people. These are what we call in economics collective goods. And the abundance of them ensures the prosperity of the people. And therefore, free universal basic education is in order for me. Now free SHS is in order for me. A good, reliable public transport system, which is time-bound and decent, is in order.
Yeah.
A good national health insurance scheme, like we do at the National Health Insurance Scheme, where I worked when I was the chief internal auditor. So these things for me are really the wheels that should move our country, and we shouldn't politicize them. We of the NPP have made good investment out of these things, and we are trying to tell Ghanaians that expenditure on these items are not expenses, they are investments. They are designed to ensure that our people do develop the skills to function in the 21st century economy.
Let me ask you something. You have your opponents, and the last time I had an interaction with you was at a disaster ground
zone, yeah,
where you also had your opponent also come at the same time. the picture that was painted by both of you was that all of you are concerned about the constituents, the state of the constituency, and whatever happens. How do you think that the performance of the Akufo-Addo-led government could be a very good opportunity cost for you, but also a comparative advantage at the same time? For you to say you want to take both
exactly
as an advantage and take good use of as you go into the campaign.
I think I'm here today because I believe in the Akufo-Addo-led government, and I'm trying to ride on the wings of a good horse. He's done extremely well, even under COVID, and we don't want to trifle with the achievement of this government and the hope that it inspires in Ghanaians. Now, COVID came on the back of the year of return, in which over $1 billion was injected into the economy right before the COVID kicked in. Ghana became the destination of choice for Africans in their diaspora, and they came here in droves. When you go to the art center, which happens to be part of this constituency, people were selling as much as 8,000 cedis a day. That is huge. And these are some of the things, and this came out of what? Cultural tourism, harnessing the fruits of Pan-Africanism and giving hope to black people everywhere to come to a country that is giving hope to the black man. Kwame Nkrumah said some time ago that the black man is capable of managing his own affairs.
And that's where we put the spotlight today. We hope that you did enjoy this one. But of course, you're on your election headquarters. The countdown to December 7 is on. All right, so in studio, as part of our build-up to this debate, which is just tomorrow, I've got Dennis Asari. He's a research consultant, Imani Center for Policy and Education. And I want to ask him about what I was just thinking about when that promo was playing. A lot of people seem to think that the minority political parties, the independent candidates, why do we waste our votes on them?
Okay, thank you very much, Mahabi, and good morning to your viewers. So for us, we believe that in terms of governance, there are different approaches to governance, and if you look at our national development issues, there are different perspectives to it. The NPP and the NDC has been in charge for a very long time. We believe that these minority parties, since 2000, although the proportion of the total vote cast that they have received has not been high, so people may think that why then should I even vote for them? However, they present opportunity for us to look at the alternatives, for us to look at what is new to these things. How do we approach these issues differently? There's a socialist, a capitalist approach. However, in the middle of this, the minority and the independent candidates who are coming in with the fresh ideas, who are coming with different perspectives, and they can also influence voter decisions. After all, there are people who may also be tired with the NPP and the NDC. So what we seek to do is that there should be equal platform for everybody to share their policy trajectories, that they believe that when this country travels on, we can reach the national development and economic growth that we want to see.
So that's why we should pay attention to these independent candidates.
Definitely. In every democracy, when there is a multi-party system or there are, let's say, choices for citizens to make, sometimes it helps build up that democracy. Let us not see them as people who are just trying something. They have beautiful ideas. They have intelligent ideas. And you know, throughout the build-up, you see Daniel Dazi's engagement with them. They are coming up with very interesting ideas that the two parties have never considered. So I think it presents us opportunity to look at the other side. What are they presenting? But over the years, they've not had that opportunity. So Imani seeks to create that platform where it gives that equal access to citizens to share their policy options also with them.
Yeah, that's also absolutely true. When people also feel that, well, they've been voting for the parties for such a long time. But it's just, sometimes it's because we don't appreciate the candidates enough, the so-called independent candidates. If only we would know what they are made up of and what they have, then maybe it will begin to open our minds as well. How many of them do we have on this ticket?
Okay, so we have, for the independent candidates, we have 6 now. So there were a lot of them, but we took them through a rigorous process. We developed a selection to get the best for this event. So we have Marie Kofi Gan. So if you look at the promo, we have 6 for now. And the 6 will be contesting. Let's say they'll be locking horns tomorrow. And if you listen to the ideas they are presenting, I'm sure you will love to be there. Yeah.
So in terms of preparation, what would we see them talking about exactly? What kind of questions would they be answering?
Okay, so the beautiful thing about this collaboration we have with the election headquarters is that we are looking at the critical policy issues that affect the lives of the ordinary Ghanaian. So from every sector, we are looking at the important questions. We are not going to look at sloganism. We are not going to look at what they think, or let's say what people's slogans or people's ideas. However, what are the critical questions that are important to the ordinary Ghanaian at this very, very time, post-COVID, going into the future? What are the policy trajectories we need to start considering? So we are looking at the critical issues across every sector. So we have education, health, economy, trade, tourism, sports, across every aspect of the economy, or something that will build up national development. And what we are going to see tomorrow is that it is not the ordinary conversations you've always seen. It's not the ordinary attacks that we always see on TV, but we are going to see policy conversation, critical solutions to problems, and that it will be void of the insult, the cynicism that we've seen over the years. So what we are seeing tomorrow is a group of people that we have really taken them through the grill. They understand the issues of national policy. They know where the country is now, and going into the future, what we need to get right to improve our economic development.
And do we get the opportunity as audience viewers to also ask questions?
For now, the questions have been prepared. However, if you look at our earlier promo, we asked the citizens to send in their questions earlier. So if you did, you may likely hear your question being asked. But it is open to the public. But due to the COVID-19 protocols, if you are not seated before 6 p.m. and the room is full, we may likely have to close it.
Okay. All right. So what's the invitation plan? Explain that to us again, because you're saying if you're not seated before 6 p.m., what's the protocol? Okay. So the political independent candidates who have been invited, there will be another one for the minor political parties. So the independent candidates are allowed to bring in their supporters, a maximum of 40 for each independent candidate. Looking at the size and capacity of the room, we can accommodate the public. But because we want to ensure safety and all that, we want to do all the seating arrangement and all that before 6 p.m. So by 6 p.m., we would have made sure that all the social distancing and all the protocols have been observed. So it's open to the public. Okay. And the debate itself will start at what time?
The debate is 8 p.m., exactly 8 p.m. Then we just launch, and it will be on JoyNews channel, Love FM, and all your social media handles.
Absolutely. Of course, this is your election headquarters, and Evans Mensah and MFA Apau will be moderating the session tomorrow. Well, okay, Dennis, anything else that we need to know?
I think we would love to see everybody there, or just be glued to your TV set and listen to the right policy conversations.
All right, Dennis, thank you very much for your time this morning. And this is a collaboration between your election headquarters and Imani. The debate is tomorrow. The countdown is on, and it promises to be exciting. You don't have to miss it. Don't worry, if you can't make it to the hall, it will be on air, on radio, on television, on all our social media handles. Stay with us. You're still watching the AM show. We've got show business news coming up next.